Welcome to the Inside Games Roundup, the only gaming news show excited at the idea of buying horse armor all over again.
Ooh, yeah, times were simpler back then, weren't they? And it only cost $250. Times have changed. But rumors abound. We're right on the verge of a remake of The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And more than that, it could be just about ready to release.
Yeah, these days a lot of folks would like to rewind to 2006, way back when the horse armor was $2.50, like Lawrence said, and really nobody gave a shit about Elon Musk.
Oh, they were simpler times. His hairline was receding and we were at peace. Well, actually, we were in two wars, so never mind. The rest of the news in this week's roundup is unlikely to make you happier about living in the present. Voice actors found out that they're losing their jobs in patch notes of all things. The long-running Final Fantasy franchise ain't doing so well, and Team Ninja's latest release is struggling hard on PC.
All right, it's time to rip off the Band-Aid and get into the news. So we got to throw out the one Inside Game staff member that's been involved in a ripoff or two, Brian Garr.
That's right. Just a scammer over here. I was just looking at all the stories. They're all bummers. They're completely...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last scam I was involved in. I think when... did y'all have to, like, do insects for biology class? Like, catch them and kill them and pin them up? I sold flies for $3 each. So that was the closest of it.
Oh, wow. You are a scammer. Okay.
All right, on to the news. The Oblivion Remake could be here sooner than we think. We're, of course, talking about the long-rumored Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Could be just around the corner. Reports suggest it could launch before June and possibly as early as next month. This is according to insider Nate the Hate. Bethesda is gearing up to officially reveal the Unreal Engine 5 remake in the coming weeks. A claim that Video Games Chronicle is backed with its own sources. That's real journalism. Nate then pinned it in even further, expecting a reveal and a release in April, and that the gap between the two, I guess, reveal and release would be minimal. So, yeah, it might just almost a shadow drop.
Nothing gets the blood boiling like a shadow drop, especially for a game people are really nostalgic for. So that's pretty exciting. The project, which first surfaced in 2023 through a leaked court document, is reportedly being developed by Virtuos. That's a studio known for supporting major AAA projects.
The Oblivion Remake is said to feature overhauled gameplay systems, including improved stamina management, blocking mechanics inspired by Souls-like games, refined sneaking with enhanced visual indicators, and a more modernized approach to archery. MP First reports that the HUD has also been redesigned to be more intuitive, and hopefully you can still put out a paintbrush and step on it like a ladder.
Yeah, I feel like Oblivion would need a hefty modernization coat so people don't start it and immediately go, because it's an older game, and Bethesda games, especially the older ones, are a little chunky these days.
I just played it for the first time like 9 months ago, the original Oblivion, and I was like, oof. It's like fun. You can find the fun in it, but it's you definitely understand where Skyrim came from. But I'm really looking forward to this remake. Actually, hopefully there's a bunch of really stupid bullshit I can do.
One of my biggest regrets: I've never played Oblivion. Never. I started with Skyrim. I'm old enough to where I obviously should have, but I never have.
Got that Patrick Stewart intro, so classy. Then he bites the dust in like the first 5 minutes because they can't afford him for that long. Yeah. Wait, it had Sean Bean in it too, didn't it? If you get far enough.
Yeah.
Wow, star-studded cast for 2006. But the days of star-studded talent in games might be drawing to a close. We just saw another step in the slippery slope towards AI replacing all of us, you, me, everyone out here. There's been a couple of voice actors for Zenless Zone Zero that have lost their jobs in the middle of the night due to an ongoing strike over AI performance.
Yeah, these are two actors for Zenless Zone Zero, and discovered they had been unceremoniously recast, and they found out about it through the game's patch notes. Always great.
This is all happening as there is an ongoing video game actor strike over AI protections, and we're starting to see those effects in the real world.
Yeah, we have got two actors here. They claim they've been replaced for participating in the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strikes.
Yeah, and AI protections are a big part of that. Emery Chase, who played Soldier 11, announced they were replaced because they were, quote, unwilling to perform work not covered by a SAG interim agreement during a strike for AI protections.
And Nicholas Thurkettle, despite not even being a union member, was similarly discarded, learning of his replacement at the same time as fans. Thurkettle posted on Blue Sky, quote, I'm not SAG, but what game companies want to do with AI is an existential threat.
Yeah, meanwhile, the response from Sound Cadence Studios, this is the company responsible for recording the actors, You know, it kind of had the usual boilerplate assurances of AI protections, respect for others, the values of human performance, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they said, we understand how personally actors take their roles. Kind of calling them drama queens, it sounds like, a little bit. Meanwhile, Zenless Zone Zero's developer, Hoyoverse, hasn't commented.
Yeah, Hoyoverse probably needs to comment on this. This debacle is just the latest chapter in an escalating battle for creative survival as developers increasingly use AI to cut costs. So this will definitely not be the last time we see this, and it'll probably start happening more and more. And you kind of like, even in like little indie games that I play on Steam, there are often times that I'm like, is this voiceover AI? Like, I know that they're supposed to tell you now on Steam, thank God, but like, I'm always like, did they actually use somebody here?
Yeah, I miss the golden old days when indies would voice games themselves, and then you'd have staticky webcam mics and crackly background sounds mixed in with your heart-wrenching tale of a platformer about cancer or something. Yeah, it's tough out there. I mean, Bruce, we work in very competitive fields, I think all of us. So not only do we feel the nips at our heels from human competitors, but it's extra exhausting to think now you have to outperform and outwork a robot.
All right, moving on. Final Fantasy as a franchise could be in trouble. The series, once, I would say, the juggernaut in the RPG genre, maybe losing its grip as Final Fantasy 16 has really struggled to gain traction. It is out for both the PS5 and the PC, but it's only reached 3.5 million lifetime sales after nearly 2 years, and that's well below expectations, and it really lags behind its predecessor, Final Fantasy 15.
According to analyst Hideki Yasuda, Square Enix president Takashi Kiryu confirmed the sales figure during a recent financial briefing. So while Final Fantasy 16 sold an impressive 3 million copies within 4 days of its PS5 launch in June 2023, its momentum completely stalled, adding only 500,000 more sales in the subsequent 2 years. In contrast, Final Fantasy 15 sold 5 million copies on its first day, and then went on to surpass 10 million units sold.
Even the highly anticipated PC release in September 2024 of Final Fantasy XVI did not revive any interest. While the game has received mostly positive reviews on Steam, its peak concurrent player count of about 27,000 is pretty underwhelming, especially for a huge release in a big franchise like that. Discounts on both the PlayStation Store and Steam have also done very little to boost sales.
Square Enix has publicly acknowledged that its sales didn't hit their own, I guess, internal metrics. And you might be thinking 3.5 million, that might be great sales for like a smaller indie game, but we're talking big budget RPGs here.
Yeah, in a May 2024 financial report, President Takashi Kiryu said that, quote, "We released multiple new titles, including major titles such as Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, but profits unfortunately did not meet our expectations." I wonder what the budget is for like a Final Fantasy 16 or a Rebirth. We were talking like, what, 200 million maybe?
And they've always tried to be the cutting edge, you know, in terms of graphics, always trying new mechanics. So yeah, it's not, you know, it's not some of the smaller kind of AA RPGs that we see from Japan.
Yeah, it just seems like trends are moving away from that kind of game. You know, the traditional AAA, huge, like technology doesn't really wow people anymore. It's hard to get people to go like, that looks so amazing, I can't wait to buy it. 16 had those moments, but it just doesn't seem like that's what the audience is into anymore, you know? These ain't the PS1 days when you can wow them senseless with a cool CG cutscene of Cloud riding on a motorcycle. And it seems like more games from the Land of the Rising Sun are struggling to find audiences. Rise of the Ronin is not doing very well on Steam, which is unfortunate because Team Ninja actually had a series of pretty good launches on PC.
So Team Ninja's latest game, Rise of the Ronin, had a lackluster debut on PC, marking one of the studio's weakest Steam launches in recent memory. Released a year after its PS5 debut, the game was expected to attract a new audience, but it has instead arrived with just very little fanfare.
Yeah, despite following in the footsteps of the well-received Neo series, Rise of the Ronin failed to generate a lot of excitement. A lot of players criticized its generic open-world design, comparing it unfavorably to Assassin's Creed. Also, technical issues contributed to a middling reception. It's currently sitting at a mixed rating on Steam.
According to SteamDB, the game peaked at just over 12,000 concurrent players at launch, and that's significantly lower than Team Ninja's recent releases like Neo 2 and Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Rise of the Ronin is also launched into a crowded marketplace, because obviously you got Monster Hunter Wilds. You got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You got Avowed. We got Assassin's Creed Shadows next week. I mean, like, it's just like, this is a kind of a bad time to drop this game. I played this on PC, by the way. Had a blast. Had no issues. Maybe I got lucky. But I can see how this just sort of falls into this vat of other AAA video games that nobody has time to play all of them.
All right, let's do a 5-second review. World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore mode. Now, this is a little niche, but this past week, Blizzard servers went down. They got hacked or whatever. But in Hardcore, that means your character dies. And in Hardcore, you die permanently. It's permadeath, even if it's Blizzard's fault. And they make sure you say, like, even if it's our fault, you're still dead. But that outage wiped out all these level 60, like, people have spent months and months and months. I only lost to level 12, but it still hurts. I'm not going again. I'm not.
5-second reviews have turned into video games that have been out for like 10 years and then Bryant discovers them. That's basically what they are.
Next up, EVE Online. Yeah.
Let's move on to the upcoming games for this week. First up, MLB The Show 25. Ignite your passion, build your very own path to greatness from high school all the way to the Hall of Fame. Along the way, connect with iconic baseball stars and fan favorite modes, and updated with new ways to play. It comes to PS5, Switch, and Xbox Series X on March 18th.
Now, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Theoretically, this is the one we've been waiting for a while. Experience an epic action-adventure story set in feudal Japan. Become a lethal shinobi assassin and a powerful legendary samurai as you explore a beautiful open world in a time of chaos. Assassin's Creed Shadows comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X on March 20th.
So excited, I got this one. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. This is one of those Wii U gems that has not seen the light of day. Until now, the massive sci-fi adventure returns for a new generation. Explore the planet Mira and defend yourself against enemies using giant weaponized robots. The visually enhanced edition of this open world RPG contains newly added story elements and more. It comes to the Switch March 20th.
Perfect for Brian Garr. Up next, Atelier Yumiya, the alchemist of memories in the Envision Land. The acronym is AYTAOMATEL, just in case you want to type that out. Atelier Yumiya is a story about memory. Explore the field to gather materials and synthesize items. The items you create can be key to advancing the story and can also be used in battles and exploration. It comes to every single platform March 21st.
Speaking of throwbacks, I'm pretty sure I played an Atelier game in 2006, like next to Oblivion, and somehow that series is still going. Same with Hyperdimension Neptunia. I don't know how they do it. Anyway, speaking of things that won't die, Bleach, Rebirth of Souls. Awaken the blade within you and reverse your fate in Bleach, Rebirth of Souls. Engage in thrilling battles with powerful sword abilities and characters from this legendary anime franchise. Bleach, Rebirth of Souls comes to PC, PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series X on March 21st.
We've got some patrons here that support our Inside Games Patreon every single month and haven't stopped playing Oblivion in the last 20 years. They didn't move on to Skyrim. They just stuck with Oblivion. Good for them. John Warren Gallardi, Jack Willis, Spirit Bear, and Scotty Ryan.
Yeah, still have yet to finish it too. No one wants to go through those Oblivion gates. That's not why we're here. Speaking of, I got some patrons. They're still stuck on that first lockpicking minigame. It's a real bear. Jonathan Lanowski, Ryan Derryberry, Jose Diaz, and Keita White. You just gotta tap it. You keep snapping that thing. Just tap.